When we were born, our brain has no gender. Consider that you are not born knowing what to wear, or how to walk, what makeup to wear, and what toys to play with, and so on. Many professions have always been stereotyped, like politics are for men, to be an engineer has always been for males, being a lawyer is only for men, even doctors must be men, that welding is for males, and a lot more. But little did we know, we humans have innate talents in us, which suits all professions across all genders. Whether you're a male or a female, we are all born equal, which leads us to the phrase or question, what's on your mind? Good day everyone, I'm Jacmar Mujabate Palawan, and in today's video, I will be presenting to you a philosophy of Mary Wollstonecraft entitled, Mind Has No Gender. In a very long history, women have been seen as subordinate to men. Sad but true. But during the 18th century, the justice of this arrangement have begun to openly be challenged. And among most prominent voices in this movement was that of Mary Wollstonecraft. So let's get to know about this great philosopher. Mary Wollstonecraft, or Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin in her married name, was born on April 27, 1759 in London, England. She is an English writer, philosopher, and a passionate advocate of educational and social equality for women. She outlined her beliefs in a vindication of the rights of women in the year 1792 and considered a classic of feminism. And she died in the year 1797 at the age of 38 in London due to septicemia. Septicemia is when bacteria enter the bloodstream and cause blood poisoning, which triggers sepsis. Sepsis is an overwhelming and life-threatening response to infection that can lead to tissue damage, organ failure, and even death. But so much with the marites of us, let's proceed with what she's fighting for. Many previous thinkers had cited the physical differences between sexes to justify the social inequality between women and men. However, in the light of the new ideas that had been formulated during the 17th century, such as John Locke's view that nearly all knowledge was acquired through experience and education, the validity of such reasoning was being called into question. Equal education for everyone. Mary Wollstonecraft argues that if men and women are given the same education, they will acquire the same good character and rational approach to life because they have fundamentally similar brains and minds. Her book of the Vindication of the Rights of Women, published in the year 1792, was partly a response to Jean-Jacques Rousseau's Emile in the year 1762, which recommends that girls be educated differently to boys and that they learn different to them. Wollstonecraft demanded that women be treated as equal citizens to men, with equal legal, social, and political rights, was still largely treated with derision or mockery in the late 18th century. But it did sow the seeds of the suffragette and feminist movements that were to flourish in the 19th to 20th century. When we talk about the suffragette, these are members of an activist women's organization. Prior to Mary Wollstonecraft, there were already few philosophers who coined the same movement. Like, in the 4th century BCE, Plato advises that girls should have similar education to boys. In the 4th century, a noted female mathematician and philosopher teaches in Egypt. In the year 1790, Letters in Education, British historian Catherine Macaulay claims that the apparent weakness of women is caused by their miseducation. And after, there were also philosophers who continued the movement, like in 1869, John Stuart Mill's The Subjection of Women argues for equality of the sexes. In the late 20th century, a surge of feminist activism begins to overturn most of the social and political inequalities between the sexes in the Western society. According to Mary Wollstonecraft, in her book A Vindication of the Rights of Women in the year 1792, he stated there that let women share the rights and she will emulate the virtues of men, for she must grow more perfect when emancipated, or justify the authority that chains such a weak being to her duty. So therefore, for her, this is what she believed. Like many celebrated philosophers, she could see beyond the knowledge and perception of the day. It doesn't feel that long time ago that we didn't have equality in the world. Mary Wollstonecraft has a lot of changes going on in her life. Obviously, in the year 1700s, it's not the internet that changed from cottage industry to the Industrial Revolution. It was machines. Machines were a thing of fiction way back then. But now, it's everywhere, and machines are now doing the work of horses and men. Suddenly, she was in a place in her life as a woman who had gained an education because of privilege, seeing that many women with any measure of education had the potential to thrive, because now society was no longer built on Spartans, but she wasn't dependent on this whole idea that you had to have muscles in order to thrive and survive. Instead, culture is now changing, and suddenly your gender no longer determines what kind of outcome you have in life. But the mind has always been that way. The mind to her had always been a level of playing field, so for her, this philosophy seems a common sense that anyone that is well educated has the ability to be successful in this world. If we work hard, we can all do it. After all, it's all in the mind. Had it not been for her bringing forth this revolutionary new idea that anyone with good education can thrive in this world, we would have never seen it, and she made it possible by challenging the idea that not only men could have a good education, and therefore all can be doctors, all can be engineers, lawyers, name it, so long that you are well educated. Before I end this video, always remember that the mind has no gender. This has been Jacquemar Machacade Palawan from Santa Ana National High School Senior High School here in Davao City. Thank you and have a great day.